All right, welcome back to another episode of Film Nobodies. This is the part 2 of the Stranger Things edition. So we're going to talk about specifically season 5 and the final episode. There's lots of reveals and spoilers here, so if you haven't seen it, tune out. But if you've seen it and you want to join the conversation, we're happy to have you. So we're going to dig into the reveals themselves first, because there's so much in season 5 that is revealed to us. I think we've got obviously the big social media one is Will coming out of the closet. Really important. That's a big reveal. Not necessarily new information. I think it was implied pretty strongly throughout the series, but he makes that apparent. We understand that the Upside Down is just kind of a symptom of what is actually a cosmic bridge between two worlds, which is
wormhole. Probably the biggest plot reveal of the whole show, for being for real.
Yeah, it really connects a lot of dots and puts some things in perspective from the earlier seasons. And then there's a lot of the understanding around that, like some of the science behind what's going on there, right? It's clear that the Mind Flayer is in control, and that's made clear through the revelation of Henry's origins. Although that opens up another door to additional origins with the Rock and so forth. So we've got that. What else?
Will finally getting his powers in the middle of the season, which I think is my favorite reveal in the show in terms of that season specifically, because I mean, Will has been suffering this whole show, and he finally can fight back. So it's really nice to see him be able to just snap these Demogorgons' necks like they're twigs, and then we finally, as an audience, are like, okay, maybe they can beat Vecna. Maybe they have a chance now. So I think there's that one, and then there's the reveal of what the government is doing with the pregnant women and putting Eight's blood into them so that they bear superpowered children. And then I think that might be it. I mean,
I think that's all
the really big ones.
I think that's all the major revelations from for season 5. But I mean, I think there's some other things that are kind of revealed, but they're things we kind of knew that they are more validating and so forth. But so I think overall, what I really liked about season 5 was, and I think you said it before, is the the aesthetics of it, and the CGI and the graphics and design and so forth was really, really well done. Some of the best in the CGI world, at least, especially some of those scenes are a little questionable, but the very end with the Mind Flayer himself and stuff.
The Mind Flayer looks so good in that season.
Yeah, really well done. And I think that they gave us good closure on the characters in season 5, so that's something to really like and enjoy. I think that there's some writing challenges in season 5, and we've talked about that a little bit in the prior episode, and we can get more into that in a minute. But despite that, I think that they gave us a pretty strong ending to the characters and to the show.
Yeah, I agree.
But not necessarily how it ended. That I think people we'll argue about that towards the end of this episode. But I think that's overall. I think that the story was decent. What I didn't really care for, and I think you would agree, is some of the writing throughout season 5 was probably pretty weak in certain spots. And it didn't ruin the entire season by any stretch, but there's definitely questionable moments, like when he goes into when Vecna sends the Demogorgons to attack Max.
Yeah, the Demodogs. Yeah.
The Demodogs to attack Max in the hospital room.
Yeah, there were some questionable decisions there. Like
Yeah.
Lucas literally kicks one out of the elevator, even though they're like these evil like
unstoppable
monsters.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he just like kicks one, and it's like, oh, gone.
Yeah.
And then the Wheeler mom comes down, like all of a sudden can just walk downstairs, even though she's been in a hospital bed, and just like throws an oxygen tank in the dryer and just blows up the Demodogs.
Yeah.
It's like cool, but like definitely doesn't really make too much sense.
It just doesn't really click. It kind of, you're like, that didn't feel realistic.
Like the scene, a lot of what they do with these, like with the poor writing in season 5 is like a common pattern is that the stuff that they want, as an outcome makes sense, like we want it to happen, like the scene where Nancy and Jonathan break up. It's like, yes, we need that scene, it's important to their characters, and the scene where Will comes out as gay, solid, or like a scene that we need, it's important. And then the hospital, Vecna sending Demodogs after Max because she's like trying to like, do stuff in his mind, and he wants to like kill her, so they all make sense for why they exist, and they're important scenes that we need, but the way they're written are just so weird and out of place that it the timing's off, that it just doesn't make as much sense as it should. And so I think that's where volume 2 falls short. I think volume 2 is probably the worst part of the whole season, because season 1 has really good writing.
You mean volume 1.
Volume 1, sorry. Yeah. Volume 1 gets
season 5, volume 1.
Season 5, volume 1 gets to the point real fast. They got to go kill Vecna, so they got to infiltrate the government, get into the Upside Down, go kill him. And then they have these really cool scenes, with the Wheelers fighting the Demogorgon and them trapping the Demogorgon in the Turnbow trap, and Will getting his powers at the end of the Sorcerer episode. Really cool. And then you're excited for volume 2, and it just doesn't hit the same as the first volume, because the writing falls short. So and so I think that's where the season lacks, is like you said, the timing of those specific scenes should have been like written in a completely different way. In my opinion. But,
in a different context and stuff. But
the ending, I think, is written decently well.
Yeah, I mean, they wrapped it up decently well. You can love or hate some of the decisions they made, but overall, I think they kind of put a capstone on it. I think the other thing that we need to talk about is like how when these characters kind of evolve from the early seasons into season 5. How did their character arcs carry forward? I think that I think they did a good job. If anything in season 5 that you could say they did solidly well is giving us closure on the characters' arcs themselves.
Yes.
And
I agree.
everyone got a happy ending, and you can argue whether that was smart or not, but bottom line is everyone got a happy ending except Elle.
And you choose to believe that way.
And so on. But I think that that's a really strong aspect of season 5 too, is that they wrote in really good ways to close out the stories on these characters and give them an ending and give them, a next chapter that, we can dream about. So that's another element. But let's talk about the plot itself.
Yes.
So the plot itself for season 5, we've been touching on it with some of the writing challenges that we saw in it, but the plot itself from the extension of season 4, and then how it's kind of revealed to us how this is bigger than just the Upside Down. This is actually another world colliding with ours, and Vecna is just a puppet of the Mind Flayer who's trying to take over our world, and so on and so forth. I thought the plot was pretty decent. It was pretty strong. The problem I have with the plot is that they spent so much time giving us closure on the characters that they missed their opportunities to give us closure on the story itself, because there's so many holes still in the story.
So many holes.
How what is the Mind Flayer? Where did he or she or it come from? Are there more of them? Is he a god, or is he just one of many? Is he just a thing? Is he just this big alien thing? Who is that guy in the cave, and where'd that rock come from?
Yeah.
That Vecna touched and became who he is. When did he get introduced to Papa? Probably. I mean, I'm excited. I'm hoping that they'll have like some spin-offs or some origin stories or prequels or something that tell us these stories. But if they don't, they're leaving a lot of blind spots in the plot. And another one is like when you talk about how this all started in Hawkins. Why Hawkins? Why was that lab built there?
Yeah, that's true. Why is there specifically?
Why is it there specifically in the middle of a small town? Is there some kind of scientific reason that Papa had to build that thing there, or what? Like,
yeah, I guess maybe,
we don't know.
Maybe you're just supposed to assume that Papa wanted somewhere kind of secluded, like a small town, and so he infiltrated that lab, and then.
But it's still.
But it's not clear.
It's not. It's not satisfying. Like, you need more than what they gave us in season 5 to truly end the story. Yeah. They ended the characters pretty well, but they didn't end the story.
The plot. Yeah, another hole is, if Will is such a huge part of this hive mind, why didn't he get affected when Vecna and the Mind Flayer are killed?
Yeah.
Why wasn't he affected in any way if he was still a part of the hive mind at that point? And it was clear he was, because he was helping El kill Vecna.
Yeah.
So he still had the powers, Vecna's powers. So why was he not affected?
Why didn't it affect him in the same way? Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that's like a big. I think that they purposely didn't answer that because they didn't want to have to deal with killing Will off or something like that.
Yeah.
But
it's he's not a part of it anymore. I guess,
but that was definitely So I think that the probably the strongest part of the story in season 5 are, like we said, are the character arcs, but also seeing Elle rise to her potential.
Yeah.
And Vecna being taken down by what amounts to basically the entire Scooby-Doo team coming together.
Yeah.
And taking down the Mind Flayer and Vecna and stuff, because Elle is critical to success, but she is not the only ingredient. You have to have the entire team supporting her to take down Mind Flayer and Vecna.
That's how it always has been. Throughout every season, it's everybody helping each other to do this thing by doing their own thing, So I like that it wasn't just someone ending it once and for all. They needed everybody's help for the most part, just like the other seasons.
Yeah.
They stuck with that. That
was a very consistent theme throughout the entire series, and they ended it that way.
That's why the characters are important. That's why there are so many characters that are important to the plot, is because they all have to help each other. They're just people who are fighting these monsters and these godlike entities, and they make sense through cooperation, So, and I think I do really like Elle's plots.
I did that.
Yeah, the supernatural forces. No, but I do like Elle's progression through that season. Her arc is definitely good, especially with Hopper and stuff like that, and the parent-daughter relationship, where she's kind of older now, and she has to she wants to make her own decision, and Hopper's not letting her, and it's time. You need to let her make her own decision, even if it
the maturity of that relationship.
Yeah,
I think they really brought that home.
Even if it may cost her life, she needs to make her own decision. But personally, I think the best arc in that season specifically is Dustin, because he loses Eddie at the end of season 4, and it's so tragic and it affects him so deeply. Where it's corny at first with the way he's dealing with the bullies. He's like, in D&D, we used to use this thing called whatever it was called. He uses D&D to I don't know, deal with the bullies. It's kind of corny, but it eventually gets way better, and he gets his ass kicked, and he's dealing with Steve, and he's in the end he just doesn't want Steve to die. And stuff like that, and so that's why he's putting out all this anger, and they're fighting so much. It's just trauma that Dustin's had to deal with, and he changes from being just the comedic relief to being a very serious character, like on his own, that you realize are super important to the story,
Yeah.
you know, and he has been.
Yeah.
You know, he's the most intelligent of the group, and he provides most of the science behind the things that are happening, and he's just very smart. And I think season 5 kind of highlights his importance as a character. And
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it runs deep. Like there are a lot of layers because of the stuff that they had to deal with in season 4. You know, so I personally think that Dustin is the best character arc in season 5, specifically.
Yeah, I don't.
So-
I mean, I think it's definitely one. I think they overplayed it a little bit in
That's
the
fair.
beginning. I think it was like I don't know. I felt like he was overacting almost with how upset he was about Eddie, because he wasn't the only one that was Eddie's friend, and he wasn't the only one in Hellfire. But it was like that was his brother almost or something, and
Yeah.
I felt like that was a little too much. Like we only knew Eddie for one season, so how important could he be to Dustin to cause that much,
Yeah.
emotion? But either way, it's okay. It works. It just I felt like that was like overplaying your hand a little bit. But
Valid.
But I think that just generally all the character arcs ended well. Like they put a good capstone on Jonathan and Nancy with the
Yep.
breakup scene, even though I don't like that breakup scene because
Yeah.
it's like
It
weirdly
needed to happen. But
yeah, it's weirdly disjointed in how it's played out. But the actual dialogue, although the timing and the context of it is wrong and it just feels wrong, was good. If it was taken and put into a different part of the show, it would have really would have really nailed it. Hopper Elle relationship was really well done. And I love how they gave Hopper and Joyce a happy ending.
yeah, they finally got their dinner at Enzo's.
Yeah, which I thought was funny.
and the kids got their final D&D session.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't think that I choose to believe that Elle she survived. You know, like that, like the reason the Duffer Brothers put that in there is that she actually lived, even though it's obviously, what do you call it? Interpretive.
Oh,
It's an interpretive
okay.
ending.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the right word. But yeah, you can interpret whether or not she
Ambiguous.
lived or died.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's and I think that
because I choose to believe she lived.
yeah, I do think that it was kind of a chicken shit way to end it. I mean, we could actually we were going to talk about that next. So why
Yeah.
don't we just talk about the ending? The very ending of starting with how the battle scene between the Mind Flayer and Vecna. I liked how they approached it, but I didn't like how they kind of fast forwarded through the fight. And they didn't give us enough meat on that bone. I was like,
Yeah.
we've been waiting a long time for this fight, and you guys should give us more depth with that
It's
fight.
like 7 minutes long, and it's like
Yeah.
it's not just one villain. It's like 2 of the
Super
biggest
villains.
villains of the whole show.
Yeah.
And it's like 7 minutes long. I do like how they end it, with Joyce chopping off the heads.
Really cool.
Because
Yeah.
you get to see how, like, they show you how Vecna individually affected each person.
Big power moment.
And
for,
so it
for
makes
Joyce.
you really want her to just chop his
Yeah.
head off.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. But I would have really liked to see, Vecna and Elle like start
Really
flying
get
around
into it,
more
yeah.
and just
Have like a Superman.
yeah, like you got the budget for it, just do it, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
there's no
it's
reason
fine.
not to. So like, I think we should have gotten a little bit more out of the fight, but that's okay. The fight was still good.
still
the
good.
scene was great, and the way she ended Vecna, and then Joyce having her moment. I think that
And
all
Will
worked.
helping
And
Elle.
Will helping. I think that all worked really, really well.
Yeah.
And then
The Mind Flayer dies kind of quick too, as well.
yeah, and
Like they just kind of like flamethrower him a little bit, shoot him with a couple bullets, and then like they kill. I mean, they kill Vecna, which obviously is going to impact the Mind Flayer. But
Yeah.
like, I would have liked to see them, maybe like chop some legs off
Yeah.
or something, like something
it wasn't as dramatic as
gruesome.
it needed to be.
Yeah. So, but
So
it was
that-
still like you said.
But it was okay.
It's
It
fine.
was not bad. Still enjoyed the entire season, and I enjoyed the final episode. The ending with that, plus the kind of 20 minutes afterwards of them closing out the characters and
Yeah.
stuff. I think they did a nice job giving us closure. I'm not super jazzed about how they ended things with. I think the decision for Elle to kind of let herself go as a choice in order to end the cycle of violence made sense logically. I just don't think it was very satisfying. So they give us the out with the Mike storytelling thing. Well, maybe this, maybe that, and then they didn't kill off any major characters. I think that was them, kind of being chicken shit with.
Yeah, try not to piss off the fans.
To try not to piss off the fans and stuff. And I'm like, I felt like there should have been more sacrifice in season 5 because we come so far. But to their credit, it is consistent with the previous seasons because we lost 8 in this season. She's an important character.
Yes.
She's a major character. And that's the theme with every single season is we lose a major character, but not a core character.
Yeah.
So that,
very true.
In their defense, they were consistent.
Personally, I am a believer in like not being afraid to kill off characters if it's necessary, if it's necessary to raise the stakes, And
It's like killing people.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. No.
Vecna over here.
No, not Vecna. Maybe.
Yeah. See?
No. I just think that stakes are super important to a show. Especially if it's pretty long, because you need to make the audience understand that people can die and that this problem that they're having is a real problem, not just some problem we wrote on paper, and just put it on the screen. Right. We want to feel that this is real. So I think
suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, and it would have made the ending climax much more powerful and meaningful if somebody died along the way, and everybody else got to escape because of.
And I think that's why they did what they did with Elle.
Yeah.
But then they were like, well, we don't want to piss people off by killing off the favorite character or the main character, and so they gave us this out.
Yeah,
with Mike's storytelling.
I also don't think it should have been Elle because, in the first place, because she suffered so much, and her dying like that, I think would have been stupid because there are other people in the show, other characters that would have been better choices for sacrificing themselves to save everybody. Like Steve is the ultimate babysitter, and a final sacrifice from him would have been, and everybody else escaped would have been good. I think that would have been a good death to have for the show. I don't want Steve to die because he's one of my favorite characters. But he's one of my favorite characters.
It would have been a weighty sacrifice.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite characters for that reason.
Yeah.
Because he's willing to sacrifice. Yeah. And he didn't really get that many opportunities this season. But I mean, that's just an example. There are other people that could have died as well. But 11, out of all of the characters, she suffered so much.
But in their defense, though, the world's not in the greatest place right now, the real world. So giving us a happy ending.
I mean, they deserve a happy ending.
It was nice to see a happy ending.
I don't want a tragic ending, but I definitely want to feel like the story mattered more, and I think you do that by having the characters suffer, and that is, a good way.
They also left some loose ends with some of the characters, not the core characters, but like Linda Hamilton's character.
Yeah.
Did not get her comeuppance, so she really deserved to either die or suffer for she's a terrible person.
They needed to get rid of her. That was a loose end.
That character needed to go, but she just kind of disappeared from the story. So because I think she was kind of irrelevant at that point. But point is hey, what happened to her?
Yeah. Should have at least arrested her or something.
But all in all, I'm not dissatisfied with the season or the ending. I enjoyed it. I'll rewatch it. I would highly recommend it. It's definitely a really, really good season.
Yes.
And a fantastic show altogether. So with all that said, let's add season 5 to our rankings.
Yes.
Recap what you did in the last episode in terms of your rankings, and then tell us where 5 fits.
Okay. Also, I just want to say, because I feel like I've been crapping on a lot of the problems with the show, so I just want to say that I do really like this show, or this season, sorry. I do really like this season. I think the first volume is super strong, and the ending with the character arcs is super strong as well.
But you can't ignore.
The problems, and so I had to kind of address them.
Yeah.
But I also think that what you said at the beginning, where with the likes and dislikes of the show, I think it looks phenomenal. The Demogorgon is some of the best CGI I've ever seen ever. and the Mind Flayer too at the very end. And so the visuals stay with the show. Like they did not. Like
They only
you
got
could see,
better.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could see every penny, even though they had $400 million budget. You know, and there were some points where the writing was good and the plot was solid, but sometimes it just fell through. So with that being said, originally I had the seasons ranked as 2, 3, 4, 1
From low to high.
from low to high. So 2 at the bottom, 1 at the top, because of course 1 is at the top. 5, I gotta put it between 2 and 3, because I don't think I can. 3 may have been lackluster in the plot department a little bit, but it made up for it with how fun and entertaining it was, with the meat Mind Flayer and Billy, and the visuals were on point. It was funny, super funny season, and so it was so consistent that I have to put it above season 5, where it has these pretty glaring flaws, even though season 5 is still great. I do want to say that all these seasons are great. Okay, even season 2.
Yeah, we're
which
talking
I
about
think,
razor thin margins here.
Yeah,
in terms
these
of
are-
how you say
these are thin
whether you like it
margins.
or not like it.
So season 2 is at the bottom, even though I still really like that season. And then I'd put season 5 right above there, right in between. So 2,
Okay.
5, 3, 4, 1 for me.
Okay, and I'm close to yours. My original was bottom up 2, 4, 3, 1.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put 5 at the bottom. So it'll be 5, 2, 4, 3, 1. Because I really enjoyed season 1. I think it stands on its own. Season 3 was really, really, like you said, really fun to watch, and I just really enjoyed it. Season 5, I just think had more problems with the writing and stuff. But
plot holes.
it made up for it in different ways. But it's also the end of the show, so it's a little bittersweet. So if I'm going to rewatch shows and I'm going to talk about how much I enjoy something, it's usually going to be the ones that are kind of at the pinnacle of the show or the beginning of it, because that's where you fell in love with it. So that's kind of
And I feel like it's hard to rate season 5 like in between these, because it's got such high highs and like some low lows. So it's hard to put it in between these. But yeah, I could see why you would put it at the bottom for sure.
But I really enjoyed all the seasons. I mean, if you haven't seen the show, definitely watch it. It's fantastic. It's one of the best shows on TV. I don't watch a lot of drama or big shows like this. I'm pretty selective about that. I'll watch shows like Breaking Bad or Severance, and so forth.
Super
and this
iconic.
one ranks up there as probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite show. So it's definitely worth watching. But it's hard to say whether I would prefer this season over that season.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose, that's where I would go with it. But from an overall ranking on TV shows,
what would you rate it?
I would
10?
mine's up there, so I would say like 9.5. I really love the show, really enjoy it.
That's crazy. I mean, like valid. I think that's a valid take. I think there are a few more problems with the show than I would say for 9.5 out of 10 personally, but I do agree that it is up there. I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. Like despite the problems, it's a super consistent show, and the inconsistencies are so few and far between, and it's so rewatchable, and the CGI and aesthetics are there. The writing and the plot are for the most part super cool and interesting and makes sense, and it's unique from any other show I've seen.
That's where I give it its biggest props, because I think that Stranger Things brings it when it comes to originality. Yes, it's based in some existing ideas around like D&D and so forth, but it's a unique story wrapped around something that's not been tapped into, and it gives us some really unique characters and visualizations that we haven't seen in other shows or movies. So that's why I really like it. I mean, I don't like Walking Dead was a great show in its prime, but it's zombies. They've done zombies a trillion times. This gave us something completely different and new, and it did it really, really well.
I agree, and I think we're also a little biased because it's like kind of our family show. We watched
this
it together. Season 1. I was like a freshman in high school whenever it was season 1, so I've grown up with it, and we would watch it together and stuff. So it's definitely like our show, but I still think it deserves its props. It's a great show. It just has a few flaws here and there.
But highly rewatchable and really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So
And if you haven't seen it, I would definitely watch it. If you're watching this part 2 to the Stranger Things episode, then I assume you've seen the
I
whole
hope
thing.
so, because we just spoiled
we
a lot
spoiled
of it.
all of it for you. But if you haven't, I would
Yeah.
definitely watch it.
Yep.
You know, I know it's getting a lot of hate right now on the internet, and I don't think it deserves that much hate. I think it deserves a chance for you to watch it. Don't accept everything you
Don't
see.
listen to the haters.
Yeah,
Watch
don't
it.
listen to the haters.
It's good.
Just watch it and decide for yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
It's definitely worth watching regardless. So,
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for this episode. This is the first show that we've done on this podcast, so we hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. Look out for our future episodes, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
See you in the Upside Down.